Guys, Hosstile just launched some new signature and Dark Knight hoodies and new range of colors in their iconic shield tee. So do check them out and use the code Fazi10 to get 10% extra discount. What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the update of Brandon Curry, the former Miss Olympia, who by the way is gonna be a nightmare for every guy who was originally aiming to do the Masters Olympia this year. So Brandon is gonna absolutely clean house at this show because the way he showed up at this year's Arnold Classic just 3 weeks back. I mean, some people even had him beating Andrew Jack at the finals, and that includes Phil Heath as well, and that is saying something. So that's how impressive Brandon was at this past Arnold, and some people even say that this was his best version since 2021. So the way Brandon goes about his year, he scales back on his training during the offseason, that has been working wonderfully for Brandon in his favor, in a sense that he has been competing as a pro for almost 15 years now, and his joints still feel very good, and he has no injuries whatsoever. And by this metric, Brandon can literally go on for another 4 to 5 years and continue to place very high at all of these big shows. So that coaching change, as well as the environment change, that worked out so well for Brandon. And do not forget, majority of the experts out there, they counted Brandon out based on his Olympia placings, where the judges gave him 9th place, and that was the lowest placing in the last decade or so. Now this certainly wasn't the biggest version of Brandon that we saw to date at this past Arnold, but coming in a bit downsized, that played wonderfully in his favor, in having more of a balanced look, top to bottom, and having more detail, more separation, and better conditioning. So Brandon is on his way to achieve what only Dexter Jackson achieved, having all 3 big titles. He has won the Arnold, and that too multiple times. He has won an Olympia title, and that was back in 2019, and now he's gonna win the Masters Olympia as well. Next up, we have the physique updates released by Sergio Oliva Jr. So if those are recent, and Sergio is doing FIBA Germany in 3 weeks time, well, I have got to say he should be concerned about his condition in the hamstrings and the glutes. But who knows, he might very well be posting old pictures. So his upper back has never been his strength to begin with. And I personally think that his legs kind of overpower his upper body, especially from the back and from the side. Now his legs from the side, they have never looked this good, and Sergio promised that his legs are gonna look at their all-time best whenever he steps on stage the next time. Now considering the fact that Sergio has always had that problem of peaking 100% on the day of the show, this isn't gonna be an easy task for Stefan either, who is prepping him for the very first time this year, and this is their first show together. Now as far as the question is concerned, whether Sergio can make it to Miss Olympia stage this year or not, well of course he can, and that's totally dependent on what kind of competition shows up at this upcoming FIBA Germany. Is there gonna be a top 10 Olympian competing at this show? Well, if yes, then Sergio will most probably have a very hard time winning a show like this one. Now this is a veteran IFBB pro we are talking about here, as Sergio has been competing as a pro longer than most of the guys in that Olympia lineup. But the fact is he needs to deliver this time, or this is probably it. Next up, we have a 10 days out physique update from James Hollingshead. So his coach Stefan ordered him to have a high calorie meal, which indicates that James must be looking flat once again. Now we already saw what happened at this past Arnold, that James being flat, that is far from being combative. This Arnold look at the prejudging, that wasn't the one that James would be proud of. Now his look on Saturday, that looked far better at the finals, and this is what James is gonna be aiming for in Detroit Pro, which is happening in 10 days time. Now I wonder how that backdrop and the perfect lighting in Detroit, that is gonna complement James's physique. Now for the record, this is the show that James had his eyes set on before any other show, and this is the show where he wants to get his Olympia qualification. But the thing is now, he needs to come out and shock the entire bodybuilding world to take out a guy like William Bonac, who although is far from being in his prime, but still the man is good enough to comfortably beat James Hollingshead and some other guys. And we just saw that at this past Arnold. Now James in his most recent training update looked very powerful. The raw density and maturity, they are his strengths. and he just cannot afford to be even a tiny bit off, especially with all the structural flaws that James has, as he isn't the biggest, not the widest, or either the most aesthetic guy out there. So the Arnold 224 last year, that is a great blueprint for James Hollingshead. He was big as well as hot, and in a decent enough condition for that show. And it will be interesting to see where he lands if he brings that same kind of package at this upcoming Detroit Pro. So is there anyone else who could have done it more smoothly than Terence Ruffin as a classic physique competitor? Now this is classic posing at its finest, and I guess the only guy who has beaten Terence Ruffin in terms of the best posing routine, that was Logan Franklin, and that was back at the Arnold 2021. So Terrence versus Mike Sommerfeld at this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro. That is gonna be the most insane classic physique battle that we're gonna witness this year. And Mike Sommerfeld in his IG stories also confirmed that he is done with the recovery phase and is back to pushing heavy weights during his workouts after the Arnold. Considering that he was a little more than 7 weeks out of the Pittsburgh Pro, maybe this is the right time for Mike to keep on pushing for more improvements. Now I'm not so sure whether Mike will be able to peak 100% for this shoe. And the reason I'm saying that is because this guy has been competing or prepping non-stop for months and months, while Terence Ruffin on the other hand, he's coming back for the very first time since 2023. The last show that he did, that was Shiru Classic in the post-Olympia tour. So there is gonna be a lot of wow factor when Terence steps on the stage again, simply because of all that added size that he put on during this improvement season, and that was more than 1 year long. So more and more people, they have started to believe that Terence Ruffin is gonna be that guy to challenge Mike Sommerfeld for that Miss Olympia title this year. And I have got to say rightfully so. And this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro, that is gonna be a little preview of what to expect at the Olympia in October this year.
The last time we spoke in Ohio, I think he said he was going to get his shoulder fixed. He's had that issue with his shoulder.
So is there a chance that we do not see Hunter Labrada at all on the stage in 2025? Well, I certainly hope not, especially after the way he showed up at his all-time best at the Olympia last year, and he placed top 6. Now he certainly could have placed higher if Hunter just did not fade away as the prejudging went on. So the margin of improvements for a guy like Hunter, they are still very much there if he just peaks 100% right, which by the way he was very close last year. So why am I saying that Hunter isn't looking to compete anytime soon? Well, it turns out he will have his shoulder fixed this year, which has been bothering him for quite a long time now. And since Hunter has always been to the next show every year except for 2022, when he did not compete at all throughout the year because he got the automatic qualification for the Olympia that year by placing top 4 in 2021, Hunter has been doing shows in the middle of the year to secure his Olympia spot every single year, so he never really had time to get that shoulder fixed. So now that he has been running nothing but only TRT, this is the perfect time to finally deal with that problem. Now Ben Chow, his coach, did not confirm anything regarding the future competition plans of Hunter Labrada, and he just mentioned that he wants to do a certain show in 2026, and that certain show, that is most probably gonna be the Arnold.
He's told me of a show that he definitely wants to do next year.
Since Hunter has never done that show before in his career. So let's just hope that those are just assumptions that we are making right now, and he does compete this year. After all, he's a top 6 Olympian, and that too for 2 years in a row. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.